Sheldon Creed celebrated that championship a year ago, and as we get ready for the 27th season, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series season opener from Daytona. And we talked about how special this racetrack is, Mike, and the Camping World track description doesn't do it justice.
Oh, those numbers all mean a lot to engineers, but as racers, you just come here to try to get a victory at the most prestigious track in all of NASCAR. 2.5 miles in length. You can see the front straightaway, 3,800 feet, back 3,000. Those banks, 31 degrees of banking. That's why we're going to see three-wide truck racing here tonight.
And our race analysis.
And you see it there. It's a 100-lap race, 250 miles. Pretty short stages, 20, 20, and then 60. Got about a 30 to 35-lap pit window.
Our Camping World starting lineup will be led by Johnny Sauter, who won the pole earlier today in qualifying, and starting alongside Johnny on the front row, last year's season champ Sheldon Creed, and Sauter's teammate Grant Enfinger will start in the second row.
Chase Purdy's going to see things he's never thought of seeing before. Rafael Lessard, very fast on the big tracks. Chandler Smith, really good in practice earlier today.
John Hunter Nemechek and Zane Smith back in row 4. Excited about both of those drivers this season. And there's Hailie Deegan. A lot of folks with their eye on her and what she will do as a rookie in the Camping World Truck Series. Carson Hocevar will run for Rookie of the Year as well. There's the 3-time series champ Matt Crafton. And don't sleep on David Gilliland tonight back there in row 7 as well. Brett Moffitt, the 2018 champ. Jinjo Cobb with a good qualifying run today.
Yeah, that's a sporty looking truck. She'll make her way to the front. Drew Dollar and Austin Hill. Austin's won here before.
Jamie, you want to try to dial up Hailie Deegan?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Hey, Hailie, it's Jamie Mack up in the FS1 booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
All right, well, I know we're coming to the green, but you qualified well, and I heard you say your truck handled well yesterday. Just tell us what your strategy is today between your crew chief and your spotter. What have you guys worked out?
I think it's just being smart, running a clean race, trying to stay out of the wrecks.
Well, staying out of the wrecks is key, and we're gonna enjoy getting to watch you. So good luck tonight.
Thank you, guys.
How cool is that? Coming to the green, we were able to chat with Hailie Deegan. She sounded as cool as ever. Let's go on board. I talked about Austin Hill winning here at Daytona. He's starting back in the 18th position, Vince. This is going to be the storm, the eye of the storm. What does he do? Does he charge forward or does he roll back? And this is the best camera in America. Check it out. It's on this visor. We're going to see what it looks like from Austin Hill's eyes as he does battle here at Daytona. We're going to go on board with Grant Enfinger. You know what he did here last year, Vince?
He won.
He won. Yeah. Fox Sports, we just ride with winners. Grant Enfinger has a great starting position. He's up in third. I know he'll try to control the race from the front, not get back in that hornet's nest like we see Austin Hill starting in.
Lined up and ready to go. Racing at Daytona for the Truck Series every year since 2000. This is the 22nd edition. So glad to be here with you tonight for the season opener for the Camping World Truck Series 2021 campaign, the first of 22 races.
This is when the nerves are really at their peak, Vince, coming down for this green flag.
Pace vehicle is off. Johnny Sauter on the pole. 4 drivers have won from the pole, none since Kaz Grala in 2017. Let's see if Sauter can get it done. We're racing at Daytona. And we've got contact already. Didn't even get to the start-finish line before some vehicles got tangled up, including, oh, what a heartbreaker for the 44. They had so much expectation tonight. James Busher.
He started last, Vince, and yet wasn't able to. I'm sure things just sort of stacked up. Somebody might have missed a shift, but you can't see through other trucks that well, so anything that happened up ahead of him caused a backup, and man, he must have been hard on the gas.
Well, he was so excited about this race tonight. First time in a super speedway since 2015, and that is big damage. This is how it happened. All the way in the back.
Yeah, there's that Tanner Gray in the 15. You can see he didn't go. Where's that?
Derek Kraus, the 19, I think, is involved in that as well. Something with the 15 having an initial problem. Tanner Gray didn't get going.
And, you know, there's just no way for those drivers to see through the other trucks. Joe Cobb on the bottom does a nice job. You really rely on your spotter to let you know what's going on these starts. And when you have a problem like Tanner did, Jamie, that just makes it really difficult for those other guys to get through.
Yeah, and if you think back to qualifying, James Busher was penalized for going below the yellow line on the backstretch, trying to get a little draft off the truck in front of him, and that's now caused him to be involved in this wreck because he had to start in the back. So super frustrating day.
Gus Dean, the 56 truck with front end damage.
Vince, I think we can get that to the pit, put a little tape on it, and Gus can still get in the draft and hang on, I bet.
You know, we talk about everybody wanting to be patient and who's going to be aggressive. It's so tough when you're coming to the green like that.
Let's reset it. Going to have to do it again here at Daytona. Well, under caution because of this incident. It looked like Tanner Gray in the 15 had some sort of an issue, and they ended up getting stacked up behind him. As you see, the 19 of Derek Kraus, the 56 of Gus Dean, and ultimately the 44 of James Busher.
That's a hard one to figure, Vince. And Jamie, what do you see there? The wreck was well behind when Gray had problems, and most of the trucks around him got by. You'd think they would have had issues.
Yeah, and we got a report that that Tanner knew he had an issue coming to the green and was kind of hoping they could, get to a caution to address that. It just seems like he didn't go, and Michael, everybody is antsy on the start, right? And who's expecting to wreck before you get to the start-finish line, and when they all start checking up, there was just nowhere for him to go. It's incredible the damage though on James Buscher's truck, before we even got to the green flag.
Talked about Gus Dean getting a little tape. I believe he's going to need more than that.
I'm going to let you have that one. I don't want to drive that one.
Something's under there is dragging, so the team will have to do more work. Regan, what's happening on pit road? That was a crazy start.
Well, that was a crazy start indeed, Michael. And I just wanted to touch on the fact that this race in general, one of my favorite things about it is the mix of youth and experience that we have. Look at what the front row and the front part of this grid was. We had Johnny Sauter, Sheldon Creed, Grant Enfinger, and then the rookies, 4 rookies in the top 12, Chase Purdy, Haley Deegan, Carson Hosever. Just so much of a mix that makes this race exciting. And you know what? I can't ever tell you which is actually going to win this race. It seems like it's a little bit of both. So that's going to be fun to watch as it plays out later on tonight. Jamie?
Well, Regan, it's that mix of experience combined with it being the start of the season that results in this historical number. So 21 of the previous Camping World Truck races here, there's been a caution in the final 20 laps, and in the last 14 years, there have been double-digit retirements. So if you're one of the 36 drivers that started this race, how do you avoid that? Well, for our pole sitter, Johnny Sauter, he said it's simple. I just have to stay out front. But he said in all seriousness, ultimately what it comes down to is patience, and that is not a skill that is easy to come by.
Well, and typically race car drivers aren't the most patient bunch, but certainly if you end up being a terrific super speedway racer, you have to learn that skill of patience.
Yeah, there's times to press, and there's time when you have to just assess the situation and make a judgment call on which way to go. Do I have the right truck to be charging forward now, or do I need to lay back, wait for an adjustment? How do I play this out?
Yeah, I totally agree. But, as we look at this, we talked about the stages. There are only 20 laps, these first 2. We're at 14 to go when we come to the green. So I don't predict there'll be a lot of patience before we get to the end of this one.
Yeah, this is a sprint. Of course, this is race number 1 of the season, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to go to some new venues during this 2021 season. Bristol on the dirt.
I love that.
That's going to draw a lot of interest, maybe even from some Cup guys coming to try out the truck.
How cool does that look?
Going to Dakota, Nashville, the return. Everyone looking forward to going back to the Music City. And speaking of great dirt tracks, one of the greatest, Knoxville Raceway. And back to Watkins Glen for the first time since 2000, one of my favorite venues. All right, Regan, Derek Kraus in that 19. What's the word on any issues they've suffered?
Well, Vince, they took a pretty significant hit to the right rear of that truck. Very calm, cool, and collected on pit road. Crew Chief Matt Noyce talking the team through exactly how he wanted to fix it. Explain, make sure we get this whole thing clearanced on the right side of the truck so that we can continue to work on it the rest of the night. They just don't want any flat tires right now from a fender rubbing or something like that, as they have a long race ahead that they can continue to try and repair that truck. Very, very calm, cool, and coordinated down here.
Well, and with some damage at some racetracks, damage puts you out of the hunt. Here,
you can hide behind a truck, Vince. You can make the air not see how messed up your truck is. Might be really hard to think you could get to victory lane with a truck that is torn up, but you could certainly push to second.
James Buscher evaluated and released from the infield care center. That's good news. And heartbreaker for James. I know he was really looking forward to the opportunity to run this one tonight.
Ready to try it again, Vince?
Re-racked and going to do it again with Sauter on the inside and Sheldon Creed on the outside. Let's see if we can do it a little cleaner this time. The green back out. Couple of ThorSport teammates at the point with Sauter and his teammate in the 98 truck, Grant Enfinger, right behind him.
You saw John Hunter Nemechek get in the back with the truck ahead of him, Chase Purdy, and that got that truck really out of shape. What are we going to see as these guys push? That was Lassard in the 24, excuse me. The
outside line headed up by Sheldon Creed.
You know, one of the things that we saw last night is that bottom lane, Michael, seems to be preferred, and it's because it can stay a little bit more organized, and guys are able to run wide open around the bottom when the tires are a little fresher. When you get to that outside lane, you always have somebody towards the back of that want to make it 3 wide, and it just slows the momentum down of the outside.
You know, and Jamie, we saw in practice, these trucks look pretty stable. But I talked to Brett Moffitt. They have a different side skirt on the left side, which gives them a little bit more downforce. But he said it also makes side drafting more important. And these guys, a lot of them don't have a lot of experience. And when you start side drafting, that's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
So as these guys race side by side and start bump drafting, that's when you're going to see problems. And you can see they're already juking.
They don't look real stable from my perspective. It looks to me like they're dancing around quite a bit.
Riding with Hailie Deegan, 5th in line on the inside.
Now, if I'm Hailie Deegan, I'm content. I don't want to bump draft.
You see them all moving and everything. You look straight. That's great.
I don't want to bump draft yet, Jamie. I just want to play with the gas.
Tight out in front of you there. They're tight. You can roll up to them a little bit if you want. Still tight in front of you. You can still cut that gap you got in front of you by about half if you want. They're tight. Still tight. Still tight. I'm going to check up a little bit up here. Still tight. You keep coming.
So, incredible information. And Hailie Deegan's really fortunate because she has TJ Majors, who spots for Joey Logano, and he's probably the best spotter at this type of racing. And that information he was giving her, he was actually telling her what the truck in front of her, how close they were to the truck in front of them, because if there's a gap on the truck in front of you, you can push them up to that. But it's really hard, Michael, to see when you're from her perspective. So she's totally dependent on him to tell her how much she can push, and she's going to be able to learn a ton from TJ on what decisions to make, because his perspective is going to be a little bit different than hers.
TJ Majors, of course, had such great super speedway success as the spotter for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And this, Jamie, is just what you're talking about. This is all that Austin Hill can see. He can see the back of the truck in front of him, and then over to the left, he's on the high side. If you're Hailie Deegan, you can only see what's up to the left. It's really difficult, and you rely on your spotter to give you that direction.
Yeah, and if you watch, Austin will kind of peek out to the left just a little bit, and that not only puts some clean air on the nose, which makes the truck handle a little bit better, but it also gives you where you can see around and see what the truck in front of you, where they're at in relation to who they're pushing.
On the outside line, that 2 truck, the white truck with the black numbers, Sheldon Creed. And right behind him, the 23 of Chase Purdy. That's his good friend and teammate out of the GMS stable. And the first 2 in line on the inside are ThorSport teammates, Johnny Sauter and Grant Enfinger.
That's his 21 of Zane Smith out of the draft onto the apron. Is there a problem with the 21, or is he just falling back because he didn't like what he saw? That's an option. We've seen the veteran Matt Crafton. He's about 6th or 7th in the outside line. He's decided to charge. It looked like maybe Zane Smith said, I don't like what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I like the strategy there if you want to go to the back, Michael. But if you're going to go to the back, you need to get 5 seconds behind the pack, because just riding a second behind them, you can still get caught up on the wreck. It's too hard to get slowed down.
Let's go downstairs to Regan.
Well, guys, I think that was a little bit of protecting the truck, but also it's very loose in and very loose off for Zane Smith right now. He's just not comfortable with that truck.
Well, and the draft makes that condition even worse. The trucks will be more unstable in that pack, so getting that gap back to where they did will help that condition.
Back on board with Austin Hill, last year's regular season champ.
It honestly looks like tonight both lanes are pretty even, Michael.
After an early caution, we're halfway through stage 1 and then some. Johnny Sauter continues to lead. Back to Camping World Truck Series racing from Daytona here on FS1. And what a great view. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Drive always, discover possibility. Goodyear, more driven.
These cats are relying on those Goodyears right now. Jamie, they've gotten a little heat in them. What did you notice racing last night as the tires did get warmer?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the tire last night. I didn't feel like the handling went away as much as I remembered in the past. It honestly seems like at the beginning of a run, the truck is a little tight, doesn't want to turn. Then it goes through a transition of turning good, and then it built a little bit looser as the run went on until maybe the very end. And it seems like the air pressure just builds up and you lose a little bit of grip. But I thought they actually hung on really well. I would expect to see, 2 tires or fuel only on some of these stops.
There's the 4 of John Hunter Nemechek back in the series after a bit of time away. How are they rolling, Jamie?
Well, it was the much anticipated debut of John Hunter Nemechek with Kyle Busch Motorsports, and with the newness comes some new people. One of those is spotter Tony Hirschman, and he's taken the opportunity over the course of the pace laps to figure out the distancing. He would change up his distance from one truck to the other and say, what would you call this? Would it be a one truck? Would it be half a truck? Just so they made sure they had the vernacular right between the two of them. But now his spotter is reminding him not to lock bumpers. But John Hunter says this truck sucks up better than any truck I've ever had.
Isn't new love grand? You get a new truck.
It's a honeymoon, Michael.
It is, and he is so happy right now.
She mentioned Tony Hirschman, spotter for Kyle Busch in the Cup Series. These drivers have some of the best up on the roof, helping them get through this race here at Daytona. And you've noticed out front is Rafael Lessard. He had been third in line on the inside. He jumped to the outside, hooked up with his teammates Creed and Purdy, and then they got back down to the inside and they run 1, 2, 3. Lessard led only the final lap in his Talladega win last year, and he's got to be awfully pleased about the view he has in front of him now. Just a couple of laps left in stage 1, so pit road is closed.
Well, he built so much confidence after Talladega. He was up front all day long. He got the victory, and when he comes to Daytona, he says, I know what I'm doing on these super speedways, and he's proven it with where he's put that truck tonight.
As we're coming to 2 to go in the stage, like this is a critical point where you're not going to be as aggressive as you are at the end, but this is where you're trying to set up, like, what am I going to do if I'm in this position at the end? When can I pull out and make my move? And you're willing to take a chance here, even if it doesn't work out, so that you don't do that later on in the race.
You can see some moves there.
Yeah, Johnny Sauter has his teammate Grant Enfinger right behind him. You see they're trying to get to the outside.
They're thinking championship right now, Jamie. They want to get those stage points.
Yeah.
They know how valuable 1 point can be, so they got a chance. They're taking it.
You ain't gonna let me if I try it? He better.
Well, he didn't.
Enfinger going to the inside, left his teammate Sauter, and now Rhodes trying to pick up Sauter. That's Rhodes just on the inside of the 13 and the 99.
That wasn't really Johnny's fault. Or
no, and
Grant's
Grant
fault.
with him when he needed to, and then the big run came and he had to do what was best for him.
And stage 1 has 1 lap remaining.
And this is crazy. Look at these guys pushing and shoving. Hope they make it back.
Lessard out front, Enfinger in second, and then it's Nemechek and Creed side by side for third.
It's going to be a big push on the outside lane. Look at Johnny Sauter up to Creed with pushing back help from behind.
Who's going to get that first playoff point with a stage win? Lessard trying to hold off the pack behind him.
Oh, it looked like Sheldon got a little bit loose there.
Way loose.
Here comes Lessard through the tri-oval. The teenager from Canada gets stage 1 at Daytona.
Whew.
Are you sweating?
I am, profusely.
I can tell.
Watch the 2 here off turn 4 with this push from Sauter. Look at those hands. What a save.
About, what, 100?
Great save.
90?
Yeah, I was going to say, ish, right around in there somewhere, 190 mile an hour.
That's incredible.
Wow. Getting after it. And Rafael Lessard, the first to draw blood. He wins stage one, his first stage win in trucks. Welcome back to Camping World Truck Series Racing from Daytona on FS1. Presented by Blue Emu. And the Fox drone giving you some unique perspective here at Daytona. Love the technology. We're able to bring you some of the great aerial views. How about some radio from Johnny Sauter?
That's the that pisses me off right there, man. We make a move so that they can go with us, and then they hang us the first chance they get. At 10-4, we had meetings about all this too.
Well, in
communication between Sauter and his spotter.
Yeah, I think in his defense, Grant, it all fell apart. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's what's frustrating is that when Johnny moved out, Grant went with him into turn one. When they got halfway down the backstretch, he just didn't stay as committed. And it's frustrating when it doesn't work out for you. And the thing is, in these races, it's about building, relationships. And if Grant stays committed to him coming to the stage there, then if the roles are reversed, Johnny will probably stay more committed to Grant. But based on that radio conversation, I don't think Johnny's going to be very committed to Grant later in the race.
Sauter led 12 laps in that first stage, becoming the all-time lap leader at Daytona in the Camping World Truck Series, passing our friend Todd Bodine.
Ah. Todd won't be too happy about that.
Getting ready for pit stops, led by Rafael Lessard, the stage one winner, followed by Sheldon Creed, Grant Enfinger, Jamie Howe.
As Johnny Sauter brings it into a stop, there wasn't a lot of communication as far as what changes he wanted. This will be a fuel stop. They are going to make an adjustment there in the rear as Johnny Sauter sends it back out, still fuming. And then Rafael Lessard came in. It looks like he was beat off of pit road. Fuel only for him, Regan.
Well, Grant Enfinger's been on the splitter, wanted to get off that just a little bit. The two truck of Sheldon Creed really loose, needs an adjustment on that truck to keep the back in the racetrack.
Watch it.
Oh,
there it is.
Couldn't tell if they actually made contact or not, but it was so close. The 0-2 is Chris Wright. the rookie, making his first start here at Daytona.
You got to be aware when you're running in the back that trucks are going to be leaving their pits.
I totally agree with that. It's always the person coming in. I would put more fault on them than the guy exiting right there.
Derek Kraus in that 19 truck.
That right side's taking a beating today, Michael.
It's been an adventurous start to the race for Derek.
He's saying, will you people stop running into me? Work being done on pit road at Daytona. Hey, this weekend, the best anglers in the world will be tackling freshwater's hardest fighter. It's the Bassmaster Elite Series, coming to you live from the St. Johns River tomorrow and Sunday morning, 8 o'clock Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
I think I'd like to go experience that once.
Yeah, that
a few days
like
of fishing with those guys. I think it'd be great.
I caught a fish out of that lake they just showed.
All right, now here's what we were listening to in regards to the radio of Johnny Sauter's team, upset that Grant Enfinger, his teammate, didn't stay with him.
Break it down, Jamie. What do you see?
If you look, John Hunter Nemechek gets to Grant Enfinger's bumper. They're going to generate a huge run right here. I think Grant thinks, that John Hunter's pushing him, and Michael, he would have had to have checked up quite a bit to get to Johnny Sauter's bumper, and if he does that and lets off too much, he could get spun by John Hunter. So I feel like if you can go back and watch this, as upset as Tab Boy, the Johnny Sauter spotter, that is a tongue twister for me, was at that. I think when you look at that scenario, it's just a racing deal, and I don't think that was a bad decision.
You see Sheldon, excuse me, Michael, you see Sheldon Creed has come on to pit road and back out. Had a penalty for too fast on pit road.
And something happened to Matt Crafton on pit road, too. You can see a lot of damage to the left front, Jamie. What did the team report?
Well, I did just check in with them, and they sent the truck back out there. They did make it out before the pack so that they didn't lose another lap, but he said it was contact on pit lane. They had contact with the number 25 of Timothy Peters, and it looks like Matt Crafton got the worst of it.
We were working those pit reporters out tonight. Jamie, I was almost out of breath right there. We made her run down and find out what happened.
So, and we're told that the 88 of Crafton is also being penalized for pitting outside the box, so he's going to come back.
That's a lap penalty,
yes.
so he'll have to go to pit road.
Yep.
Well, we're formed up to go again, and
well, I tell you what, it's been an eventful race, and we just went through one stage.
Look who's behind Grant Infinger. This will be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's Junior Joyner, the crew chief for Matt Crafton. Obviously does not feel as though his driver pitted outside the box, arguing his case.
I'm sure there were a few beeps used during that.
We need a heart rate monitor on him right now.
No, we don't. I think you would tilt.
Pace truck is off, and you see John Hunter Nemechek on the inside and Grant Infinger on the outside. This is stage 2, Camping World Truck Series at Daytona.
And just remember, Vince, that's not a death sentence for Matt Crafton. I mean, there's going to be stage breaks. There's going to be a lot of action. Crafton will get back in this game.
Interesting, you know, we heard Sauter's team very upset with Grant Infinger. Now it's Sauter behind Infinger.
I think if I was Sauter, Spotter, and Infinger, I'd say that is one of them racing deals that you got to put that behind you and make sure you focus on the rest of the race.
Oh, and this lap penalty for Crafton has got to seem like forever as you sit and wait for the trucks to come back around. Early laps of stage 2.
Be interesting to see if that penalty that Sheldon Creed brought upon himself by speeding on pit lane gets him in trouble. He was out front, now he's back in the pack.
Riding with Infinger.
Well, it didn't take Johnny Sauter long to say, okay.
Pay that back, yeah.
Sorry about that there, Grant. You shouldn't have put me in that position. That's the payback right there.
Well, and that's what we talked about. It's about building those relationships. And if if Grant could have stuck with him, Michael, then Johnny would have stuck with him there. And it just becomes so frustrating when you're out there on the track.
Regan on Infinger.
Well, Vince, coming to the green right there, the 98 and Grant Enfinger, they were trying to talk to the 13 team and communicate and patch things over. The 13 team, though, they wanted nothing to do with it. And you see the end result now. Grant's at the back of the pack because of it.
Teammates are supposed to get along.
Well, the good news is I bet Johnny feels better right now.
I'm sure he'll forget all about it by the time the race is over.
And the bad news is the team owner's thinking, we're falling to pieces here. We got to get this back together somehow.
Speaking of getting it back, how about Sheldon Creed after that speeding penalty? He is on the move on the outside.
This is some good racing. 2, 3 wide, a lot of comers and goers.
Chandler Smith, the rookie in the 18 truck for Kyle Busch Motorsports, just ahead of that 2 of Creed.
And the 1 truck of Haley Deegan on the bottom, tucked right in, just learning lap after lap. Everything she sees is new, and she's doing a great job running inside the top 10 all race long.
John Hunter Nemechek leads this lap. And this is why he came to the Camping World Truck Series. He wanted to run up front, put himself in position to win races. And I think we're going to be talking about him at the front a lot this season.
It's an interesting line John Hunter's running there. He ran really high through 1 and 2 and then pulled it all the way back down to the bottom down the backstretch.
Nemechek with Eric Phillips as his crew chief. Phillips came from Denny Hamlin's Cup team, was the car chief there last year. Downstairs, Jamie.
All that experience that Eric Phillips brings with him has really motivated John Hunter Nemechek also. He said coming back to the truck series, he's had a change in attitude as far as racing it goes. He says, I have to be more calculated, but he's also had some personal changes as well. He's married now to his wife Taylor. They have a daughter on the way in 6 weeks, and he says that personal growth, it makes him better behind the wheel as well, and he's learned to just enjoy the process.
Well, he has a lot of experience for a driver who's just 23 years old.
He does, and I think anytime we have seen drivers go to the Cup Series and then come back, they always seem to be tremendously successful when they come to a lower series, because it's just it's a different level of talent and drivers in this. And John Hunter, even though he wasn't in a top tier team, he learned a lot being in the Cup Series last year.
Talk about an aggressive driver, Ben Rhodes. He's that, isn't he? He's all over the tailgate of our leader, John Hunter Nemechek, in that 99 truck with his teammate Johnny Sauter just behind him.
I was going to say, in those top three between Nemechek, Rhodes, and Sauter, they don't need much of an opportunity before they will jump on it. Chandler Smith, the rookie for KBM, right there as well in the 18. And there we get a good look at Haley Deegan in the 1, followed. She follows Timothy Peters. That's Peters in the 25, just ahead of her.
Yeah, looked like she got just a little loose and kind of got that left front on the apron. It's a good save right there by her.
And if there was someone right beside her, that's what starts a wreck. So she was fortunate that the outside lane was higher.
Gave her a little room.
And that's how your truck starts handling poorly. You've got the wheel cut. It doesn't turn. You talked about the air buildup. It doesn't turn. Maybe you clip the apron and then she's sideways.
John Hunter Nemechek out front. The season opener of the Camping World Truck Series at Daytona. Back under caution at Daytona. It's been a tough night for Derek Kraus already.
He's gotten shock
contact a couple of times.
Shockwave on his truck. It's been a series of shocking events for this team.
Had some contact on track on the first lap of the race, then some contact on pit road.
Look at that view. That's a great camera shot.
He's drifting and mowing the grass.
And that left rear tire was cut down.
This is how it began. Watch Derek Kraus.
See the 19 truck on the right outside, middle of the screen. There it goes. I think.
Yeah,
maybe
you see it already starting to wiggle, and he knows that. He makes a great save right here, not to get into the outside wall, and also everyone else did a great job around him not to get into him.
That's David Gilliland that avoided Kraus.
You know, when you have an experienced driver like Gilliland that needs to make the right move, you know he's going to make the right decisions. Locking up the brakes or anything that you do suddenly would have caused even more problems. Gilliland just coolly maneuvered his way right past. Do we pit? I don't think we do.
The 88 of Matt Crafton getting the free pass, so he'll get that lap back after serving that penalty.
The leaders stay because of those stage points that are ahead, but some of those guys on the borderline of top 10, including Haley Deegan, all come to pit road.
Yeah. Tyler Ankrum behind her as well. So there's Hailie Deegan first in line.
Grant Enfinger. I'm interested to see who gets tires. Deegan's going for tires.
Yeah, we saw everybody get fuel only on the last stop. So they're probably going to get 4 here, and this is going to be it, Michael. It'll just be fuel only when they stop again.
I'm glad to see tires going on Deegan's truck. That thing started to get a little bit loose.
Her handling looked like it was going away as the air pressure built up, the grip going away.
Problem on that right front from Haley's crew trying to get that tire off.
See an issue on Grant Enfinger's truck as well.
It's going to be a quick sprint to the green and white checkers, and in stage 2 we'll take a quick break and come back to see it. Back at Daytona, the late laps of stage 2. You see 17 of 20 completed under caution after Derek Kraus cut down a tire and spun through the infield grass. Some came to pit road, some elected not to. John Hunter Nemechek, Ben Rhodes, Johnny Sauter, Chandler Smith, Rafael Lessard all staying out.
Chris Wright, we saw him with trouble on pit road. He's coming back, and here comes the man that's been the highlight reel so far, Kraus.
For as much as he's been through, it doesn't look that bad.
I agree. This is going to be exciting, I'd say, Vince.
It's going to be a mad sprint for those stage points and that stage win.
On the last restart, Johnny Sauter was a great pusher, so I like the fact that John Hunter has taken the bottom with Sauter lining up behind him, because Sauter seemed like he was really aggressive and was able to push who was in front of him.
Matt Crafton got the free pass and is around. We've got a mess of a fender. We'll get that tidied up on this stage break, I believe, but that puts him back on the lead lap.
Had a couple of slow pit stops during this sequence, including Enfinger in the 98. Keep an eye on the jack band.
Yeah, he was up in the top 5 when they pitted and all the way back outside the top 15 now. You see the jack falls there.
Yeah, well, he was pumping it and it just wasn't going up. It looked like he just tried to reset it or something there.
They don't want you getting that shot. They don't want you seeing it.
To look at it, apparently.
Yep. Matt Crafton, by the way, has come around and has not yet caught the tail end of the field, but will before we take the green.
He'll just cruise to the stage break, Vince. Try to tape up that bright yellow number 88. Get back into the game. Told you he'd be back in the game.
Coming to the green to end stage 2 after a 1-lap sprint to the finish. When they come to the line, it'll be lap 19, and they go 20, as you see on the board, with Nemechek, Rhodes, Sauter, Smith, Peters in the top 5. Sauter's led 12 laps tonight. Lessard has led 12. Nemechek has led 10.
We get teammates on the front 2 rows, but they're not lined up properly.
Nemechek on the inside and Ben Rhodes on the outside.
Chandler Smith with a nice push into the back of the 99 of Ben Rhodes, and here he comes.
Oh, the 99 needed to try to get down in front of John Hunter right there, I think.
He's going to do it.
Yeah, he's going to be able to get there.
John Hunter's going to have a big run here off the nose of Johnny Sauter. Does he flip to the outside?
Yeah, I don't think I would, because they're teammates. I feel like Johnny Sauter would stay committed to Ben Rhodes in front of him. I think that was a good decision by John Hunter. Maybe try to pull out late here, coming to the end of the stage.
Yeah, that outside line breaking up, all the momentum on the inside. Ben Rhodes through the tri-oval. There'll be one lap to go in stage 2.
Man, that don't get your heart pumping nothing, Will. Look at all that pushing and shoving.
Lassard won stage 1. Rhodes trying to keep the pack behind him to win stage 2.
Pretty big run coming on the outside, Jamie.
Creed jumps to the outside to try to catch Chandler Smith, and a little momentum from the 18 truck.
See, Johnny Sauter's going to get a little bit of a run with John Hunter. John Hunter's going to pull out. I think that's a great move. Johnny Sauter's, he's going to go with John Hunter instead of going with his teammate.
And John Hunter Nemechek wins stage 2.
Man,
I think that's interesting. Why did Johnny Sauter not go with his teammate right there?
That's a good question.
I'm just saying, I mean, he got mad earlier that his teammate didn't go with him, and then he did the same thing right there.
He had a perfect opportunity to shove his teammate. Watch this. You see the 13 is the third truck in line. Outside, Nemechek goes, and instead of...
He kind of went with him, and then he didn't. I don't know. I
think if I'm team owner Duke Thorson, I'm on the radio saying, boys, I got a lot invested in this.
And I think, I'm not being critical of Johnny in that, because you have to make a split-second decision, and you want to do what's best for you.
John Hunter Nemechek, stage 2 winner. 2 stages down, 1 to go. Who's going to be the big winner tonight at Daytona?
She just might not have went.
Welcome back to Camping World Truck Series racing from Daytona on FS1. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. For those that push the limits of possibility, Goodyear, more driven. John Hunter Nemechek, your Stage 2 winner. Rafael Lessard, who won Stage 1 right there, along with Johnny Sauter, Sheldon Creed, Ben Rhodes.
How about Timothy Peters? Finished in the top 10 of that stage with us again. Glad to have Timothy back in the series.
First time since 2016. Former winner here at Daytona. And I will second that. Always great to have Timothy. Good racer. There's Chase Purdy.
Uh-oh. Got some rear end issues there, it looks like.
It's unfortunate. He has been up toward the front much of the night.
It looked like they felt like maybe they solved the problem, whatever it was.
You know, guys, looking back to the end of that stage and just thinking towards the end of the race, being the leader is not the truck that you wanted to be right there. And I would put that in my memory if I'm any of these guys or any of the spotters of, you know, if you can put yourself in the perfect position. It seemed like John Hunter being in second was maybe in the best position.
And you just have to go execute. I mean, he was in a great spot, and he did a perfect job of getting that win.
Coming to pit road for stops, and we'll go downstairs. We'll begin with Jamie Howe. She's awaiting the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
And Johnny Sauter took the blame to his team for not making that move. He said, "I'm sorry, guys. I just didn't get it this time. This will be a 4-tire and fuel pit stop. I didn't take any the last time." Up pit road, John Hunter Nemechek, very similar stop for him. After he got to the lead to get those stage points, the road to him was nice job. That's some studying. Regan.
Two truck of Sheldon Creed, a great recovery for him. The back of that truck still sliding around too much. He needs the rear tires to grip a little bit better. Chandler Smith, biggest question mark he's got is what he could have done different at the end of that stage. He's been asking his spotter, Chris Lambert, what he can do, thinking ahead to the end of the race. 4 tires for both these trucks and a couple of slow stops for him.
Got all kinds of different strategies. Guys taking no tires, 4 tires. Some people didn't even pit, Vince, because they pitted on that last caution.
Well, we've talked about the fact that there are a lot of different strategy options here at Daytona, and you see John Hunter Nemechek in his pit stop. The one thing you do want to do when you come to pit road is get your work done quickly, and the right front was a big issue.
Yeah, that tire is just not drooping out. We see that a lot in the truck series because of the suspension, the shocks, everything they run. It takes a long time for that front tire to fall down enough in the fender well that they can pull it off.
Getting ready for the final stage here in Daytona. Let's check in with the studio in Charlotte.
Thank you, Vince. All right, so it's been very exciting already, to say the least, in the season opener in Daytona. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Matt Crafton. Todd, level of concern for our past champion, one of the past champions in the field, with all the issues he's had.
Yeah, you know, it's not in the panic area, but it's on the high side of concern for sure. You know, it's not like Matt to make mistakes, and he made 2 of them under the same caution. First, he got in the back of Timothy Peters coming into pit road. You got to leave some space, guys. You can't be up on those guys. And then coming in to fix that damage, he pitted outside the box. That's the big mistake because it cost him a lap. But luckily, he was the only truck 1 lap down. Got that free pass, back on the lead lap now.
What did we talk about in the pre-race show? 21st time could be the charm for him to get a victory. What do you think?
Not looking good right now.
Not looking too good. Okay, what else has caught your eye, Larry?
Well, mistakes on pit road. Sheldon Creed, our champion, qualified on the outside of the front row, right up near the front on that first pit stop at the end of stage 1. Busted for speeding on pit road, but he has overcome his issue. He fought back to get a top 5 finish right there, so they're back in the game with that 2 truck.
What else has kind of caught your eye as well through these first 2 stages? And John Hunter, what about?
John Hunter's been running good, but I'm going to tell you what, I really like what Haley's doing.
Okay, yeah.
She got to the bottom of the racetrack. She's feeling the truck out. It's moved around. Had 1 good save off of 2, but that thing got sideways on her. So I'm really liking what she's doing, just trying to learn, get her feet wet.
Yeah, and the driver that won Talladega last fall, Rafael Lessard, he actually won stage 1. But I agree about John Hunter Nemechek. He told us in the pre-race, I'm here to win races. I'm here to show that someone other than Kyle Busch can win in a Kyle Busch Motorsports, and he's making a statement. A little bit of an issue right there, like Jamie McMurray pointed out on pit road. Don't know that that was anybody's fault. It's just the way they've got the truck set up. We still got a lot of racing to go.
You mentioned a lot of racing to go. Do you feel like this has been traditional Daytona, what we have grown accustomed to seeing at that racetrack, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we usually first 2 stages pretty much double file. You get a little racing going on, guys trying to feel out their trucks, see what they're going to have for the end of the race. Now, things are going to start picking up here towards the end of this last stage, but one thing these guys handling starting to become an issue, Larry, on those old tires.
Well, another issue is we're just a little over an hour into the 2021 Truck Series season. Johnny Sauter has just already said the heck with all my teammates.
No surprise there. Things are certainly going to continue to be exciting. Let's send it back to the racetrack at Daytona and Vince Welch.
Thank you very much, Caitlin, and of course Larry Mack bringing that up with about Johnny Sauter. I think Duke Thorson probably going to have a meeting with his ThorSport drivers on Monday.
And Todd Bodine said action's going to start picking up. I don't know if I can take it, Jamie. I'm already on the edge of my seat because of all the moves we're seeing made. And you know, when you can draft up, when you can get those runs, that's what makes racing a lot of fun here at Daytona.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and I'll tell you, it's hard to appreciate when you see organizations with 3 or 4 cars or trucks when they can get all the drivers to work together. It's harder to do than people realize.
Still going to have a pit stop yet to go as we get through this final stage. They'll all have to come to pit road one more time at least. The 18 of Chandler Smith coming back in to top off. They didn't think they got it full. So some of these pit crews knocking off the rust tonight as well.
Yeah, I like the strategy of some of those trucks that got tires to stop before, then they came back in and they got fuel only, because that's going to put them on the same sequence as what we think that the winning strategy is going to be. And if this runs green to the end and they have to have a green flag pit stop, you want to make sure you can pit with the mass of the trucks, because that's where all the speed's going to be.
I still think at this point, if I'm up front, I'm going to battle for those positions, but there's going to be some guys that use the strategy of laying back still because of what Todd Bodine and Larry McReynolds said. Things are going to definitely pick up. You got to miss the wreck. How you do it will be interesting to see who's got the right plan.
Well, Todd Bodine knows what he's talking about. 2-time winner here at Daytona. The only driver to win back-to-back. Grant Enfinger hopes to add his name to that list.
If I remember correctly, Todd might have made a few people mad at this track as well.
I find that hard to believe. Enfinger and Ankrum on the front row for this restart, and it's been an eventful night for Matt Crafton, as the studio discussed.
He's not in the top 10, is he?
He's already up to 6th. It's unbelievable. What a turnaround in the last 15 minutes for that team.
The final stage at Daytona. It's the season opener. And we've got plenty of racing left. Just because it's the final stage, you better believe there's going to be a ton of excitement in it. Enfinger in the 98 on the inside, Ankrum on the outside. Green at Daytona.
26 Journey Max, 26 has no help. Your help's coming to your bumper now. Outside. 26 still help. His help half back. Now 2 rows even here.
That's David Gilliland in the 17 on the outside, row 2.
On your door tight.
Yeah, we haven't talked about David much during this race, but great speedway racer, and he's put himself in a good position here for this final stage.
And his son Todd in the 38.
Matt Crafton sandwiched between them. Really important. If you're a truck on the bottom, you keep it tucked low.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, when you see them move up that half a truck length, Michael, it's because it's not handling the way they want. They would like to be right on that yellow line, but when you drive in, if you're a little loose, you move up just a little bit.
How about that second truck on the inside? 20-year-old Drew Dollar from Atlanta, Georgia. His first ever Truck Series start. He's right in the heat of it.
I'm going to tell you what, David Gilliland is wearing the bumper out of Tyler Ankrum's truck.
And it shot Ankrum out into the lead, but then the bottom line with Drew Dollar pushing Grant Enfinger, making a big comeback.
It's definitely getting more aggressive right now. David's hoping that he can push Ankrum out enough that they can maybe both get to the bottom if they choose, but you got to be able to, your rear bumper has to clear the front bumper of that truck in order to break that plane of air that kind of sucks you back.
Haley Deegan on the inside.
So cool to see her learning like she is, getting this chance to run right up front with some of these experienced veterans. And then Drew Dollar coming in here, making his first truck race. He won at Talladega. He knows how to get it done on the super speedways, but man, he's impressive.
That's a good move, I think, by David to get to the bottom right there. You saw him push Ankrum to the front, and immediately he went down to the bottom.
David Gilliland out front, and now Infinger right behind on his bumper. And Ankrum on the outside with Matt Crafton, and then Todd Gilliland in the blue and yellow 38.
You know, it's so interesting, Michael, because we see guys get to the lead because they're on the outside, and they immediately go to the bottom. But typically the bottom stays more organized, because when you're in that second lane, you get 5 or 6 trucks back. Somebody will make it 3 wide, and when that happens, it really slows down the momentum in that outside lane.
Well, we've got a long way to go, but wouldn't it be cool to see a little father-son battle to the finish tonight with David and Todd Gilliland?
I remember a father-son battle to the checkered here in the Daytona 500 with Bobby and Davey Allison. That was a great memory and a great victory for Bobby.
And I don't know about you guys, but the intensity level has picked up. Everybody's bump drafting just a little bit harder right now than they were earlier in the race.
And what happens, Jamie, the bump drafting certainly makes it more dicey, but then when the outside line starts side drafting, you put those two together and it's a recipe for a wreck.
Well, and right now everybody has fairly fresh tires, right? We've just pitted in the last 10 laps. So you feel more comfortable, but as those air pressures build up, as the grip starts to go away, that's when all that bump drafting and the side drafting, like you mentioned, really comes into play. And see, if you look, they've made that 3 wide. The energy in that second lane is going to go backwards now, and the inside lane is going to be the lane to be in.
Yeah, that's Moffitt, that lead truck on the outside lane. The white 45 in Nice Motorsports, and John Hunter Nemechek was behind him, and now Nemechek going to dip back to that middle lane.
Moffitt's been hanging in the back. This is about as far up as he's been since the start. That was sort of his plan going into this race. Talked to him earlier today. Said he's going to let it sort out a bit.
Those guys are doing a really good job of pushing on the straightaways and then getting off those trucks as they enter the corner where it starts to become really sketchy.
What about Austin Wayne Self up inside the top 10, battling in that 22 truck? You know what I want, Vince?
What, Mike?
I need a break. I want to crank it up.
Well, whatever you want, Mike. Let's do it.
Both rows a half behind both trucks behind you. Still clear truck length both ways. Bottom's close to you and pushing him down the back. He's pretty good at getting up to him. Right here he's half apart. He's losing him now. He's 1 apart out front. 1. Half.
88 still quarters. Still quarter 88. Now just at 26. Outside room.
Truck's handle is starting to go away on him now up off the corners. Keep doing what you're doing. They're half apart. Perfect.
The green here, kind of high, contest that finish. 10-4. Keep.
Caution is out, and again it's the 19 of Derek Kraus.
Also the 40.
Ryan Truex.
Truex with trouble as well. He's got flat tires, I think. No damage, it doesn't look like.
Truex full-time with Nice Motorsports this season after a part-time schedule a year ago. And Kraus has some damage on the left side this time to go along with all that on the right.
It's been a long night for Derek. It looks like he cut a tire down again.
Yeah.
You know, once you get the damage, it's hard to keep all the tires clearance. You also don't know if a crush panel, something's fallen off and then you're running over it. But that's 2 what appears to be left rear tires. It looks like the right rear actually is cut down this time.
Yeah, I think it got the right rear, but it wasn't significant. Well, it's pretty significant. But what all he's been through, I think he can still run on.
There you see Truex sliding through the picture.
I think he got bumped from behind, Vince.
Well, I would agree.
Yeah, and he's going to be okay. It doesn't look like he has any body damage at all from the flat. If you're going to have flat tires, it's a great place to have it because you're so close to pit road.
Nice Motorsports team taking care of business on the 40, and it's a little more repair work for the 19 of Kraus.
Kraus is going to lose a lap this time.
Too early to make that last pit stop.
It's like Tyler Ankrum was actually the leader when the caution came out there. Must have just surged ahead of David.
Those teams that elected not to take tires on that previous pit stop, how long does it take before you really start feeling the effects of those tires?
Jamie, you were on those tires last night.
Yeah, and I think that most of these guys are on similar tires. Some of them came back and got fuel after just running a couple of green flag laps, which I don't think is going to be a big deal. We're still outside of our pit window. You know, I just tires are important, but that track position is going to be important as well. And I don't think they've run enough laps now that you would come in and put tires on.
Yeah, you don't come now, but how does the handling change in these trucks as you run with the tires, especially that group that did not put tires on the last stop?
Yeah, I mean, Michael said it. You lose grip overall, and whatever issue you're fighting, that seems to get magnified when you get in traffic and the grip starts to go away. The one thing here is that you typically fight really tight on the exit of turn 2 and turn 4, and it's important. And when we go to the in-car cameras and you listen to the throttle, you hear the driver start to have to roll out of the gas on the exit, and when you have to do that, then you're not able to push with the truck that's right in front of you and keep your lane moving forward. So you basically just lose overall grip, and it just feels like they have too much air pressure in them as they start to build up.
And you heard Eddie DeHaan talking to his driver Austin Hill about
he could see it
about trucks starting to lose their handle up off the corners. That's where it starts to show its head, Vince, is when you can't hug the bottom, you start drifting up the track. Then you add steering wheel to it, hit a bump, and next thing you know, there goes the back end.
It's great. I love hearing Eddie say that, because as a driver, you're already questioning, like, man, my handling's going away. I wonder what other trucks have going on. And when you hear that, you're like, okay, everybody's fighting the same thing. It's not just me. And that also kind of gives you a warning of, hey, let's be aware here, because handling's going away.
Coming back for the restart. Give you some cool views. There it is. The drone doing its work. Camping World Truck Series racing from Daytona here on FS1, presented by Blue Emu. It's been an exciting race so far, as it always is at Daytona, and we are moving through this third and final stage. 44 laps to go. Some trucks and teams selected to come to pit road for a little service, some repair, and some just a gas and go.
Saw a lot of chassis adjustments too, Vince, and these teams are taking advantage of this opportunity just to top off with fuel, so it's less of a stop when they come in next time. Spend less time. And I'm guessing, Jamie, most of these trucks won't get tires. It'll just be a quick pit to gain that track position.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see anybody get tires there. It looked like, like you said, chassis adjustments, a lot of fuel only, and I like that because if they do have to make a green flag pit stop, which if it runs green to the end, we would have to have that, they're going to spend less time on pit road, and that could be the difference of being in the A pack or in the B pack, and that's going to be critical.
And Jamie, you're an expert commentator. Give me your percentages on us not having another caution. Where do you think that would fall?
I would put it between 0 and 1, Michael, percent.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
If Derek Krause stays out there, I know we're going to have another caution.
Yeah, but Jamie on John Hunter.
Well, John Hunter Nemechek was one of the trucks that made that call to pit lane for what was going to be a quick fuel stop. However, they did have an issue, and they had to get another can out. See him dropping below the double yellow line now. So it looks like he's going to have to come back to pit lane, Regan.
Well, Jamie and Michael in the booth, you guys, and it pains me to say this, are very, very smart. That is exactly what the one truck of Hailie Deegan was trying to do. They wanted to get her set up for the end of this race, make that pit stop shorter. But they were also concerned about what was going to take place with her being around that 10th to 11th spot. They didn't want her in the middle of that hornet's nest just yet.
And Regan, I love that. I mean, she's learned so much. She's been right up front. Let's continue the learning process and get to the checkered flag. If it means falling back here and running a few laps, there's still a long way to go in this race. I think that's great strategy by that team. I talked about Brett Moffitt. He's been using that strategy all night long. He's currently running in the 14th position, hasn't really been a factor, but I look for him to push toward the front as the laps wind down.
Long way to go, and as Jamie McMurray said, likely to have at least another caution.
We got father and son, first and third. This will be fun to watch.
That's got to be a great feeling.
That's got to be so cool for David and for Todd, yeah.
It'd probably be cooler for Todd if he was in front.
For sure for Todd it would be, yeah.
The 88 team of Matt Crafton, we're alerted, has been penalized for having a crew member over the wall too soon. Been a tough night on pit road for the 88 of Crafton.
There goes crew chief's Junior Joyner's blood pressure again.
Yeah.
I don't think he could handle much more.
His eyes are about to come out of his head on that first one.
Todd Gilliland telling me this weekend they really were encouraged by the crew that they brought back from a year ago, the gains that they felt like they made in the offseason. Said we always felt last year like we needed one more step, and we feel like in the offseason we've been able to take that step. We'll see if they can make it pay off tonight in this final stage.
Son was pretty aggressive on Dad's bumper, wasn't he?
Dad made a point. You stay with me.
Zane Smith third in line on the inside in that orange 21, right behind the Gillilands.
They got to be careful not to.
So aggressive on the restarts right here, trying to get out into the front.
Got to be careful not to lock those bumpers. NASCAR will watch that closely. You can bump, but you can't push.
And that is a stop and go penalty, and a lot of times it's not just the guy pushing, but the driver in front getting pushed as well, often getting penalized.
Yeah, and that's frustrating as a driver because the hardest part is to get locked on. That's where you see all the movement on the truck in front. Once you get locked on, it's not too bad. So once you get tied together, you want to stay on, but you can't. You got to, kind of be graceful with that and just tap down the straightaway and not stay locked together for too long.
On that outside line, it's Infinger in the 98, then Drew Dollar, followed by the 16 of Austin Hill.
It's an art too, isn't it, Jamie? Bumping that truck along.
Oh, that 38 keeps moving up, Michael. It looks like he's really struggling with the handling of that truck.
Whoa, that's a cool view.
I'm telling you, It's so cool to see that view and how much the trucks are moving back and forth when they change lanes.
On board with Enfinger. The Gillilands there to his left. David Gilliland in the 17, Todd Gilliland in the 38.
You know, we've talked about teammates and sticking together and trying to work together, but I'm feeling like that father-son bond is probably going to be a little better than any teammate we have.
Oh, and that's the 3 of Jordan Anderson that has gone around. Contact with the wall, and the 22 of Austin Wayne Self involved.
Strong run for Self. I don't think it'll do either one of these two in. Look like they're going to get away with that.
Jordan Anderson finished second here a year ago. Anderson running full-time in the Xfinity Series this season as his program steps up. .40 to go, and there's a look at some damage to Jason White's truck as well.
That's Canada's Jason White.
Yep.
Virginia's Jason White will be racing tomorrow in the Xfinity race, he hopes.
Now we're getting close on.
Oh, is that a bump draft gone bad there, Jamie? Looks like
I'm gonna have to have another angle of that. I couldn't tell what happened.
Friesen was involved in that. Surprisingly, Derek Kraus wasn't.
He's gone to the garage. Kraus has gone to the garage.
He's taking a break.
And Sheldon Creed was back there as well, jamming on the brakes. In fact, there's Creed right there.
He'll have to come get his tires. That was a lot of smoke. I bet he flat spotted his tires. That'll force his hand on strategy. But I don't. You know,
where he's at, I don't think that's a concern. And you get that fresh tires.
Yeah,
you know, so
I like that right now. See the back of the 17 truck, that flap? That's been up the whole time. Sometimes NASCAR looks at that as an advantage. Even under green, it's been up. I don't know if they're going to make them repair that.
Typically, just give that a shove and it'll come right back down. But as Mike said during green flag action, NASCAR wants that laying flat.
Well, maybe he can pull up to the pace car and see if that guy can reach back there.
Yeah, or his son.
Reach out the window and give it a little push. I'd like to see that.
Why couldn't his son do it?
Unbuckle and lean out the window. I don't think that's going to happen either.
No.
Jordan Anderson on and off of pit road. Looks like he's going to be able to continue the battle.
You know, I just can't say it enough how I think what a cool story it is for David Gilliland and Todd Gilliland to be running 1-2 here at Daytona, and they're coming to pit road.
Yeah, I think they're coming. They're kind of outside their window, but they can make it on fuel.
Final stop of the night, I would think, for these. Jamie?
And for David Gilliland, they made the call just in case they have to come back later. It would be a shorter fuel pit stop, going to go ahead and go down 2/3 of the track bar also, as well as the fuel. Regan?
Todd Gilliland in the 38 truck. They were worried about a little bit of nose damage, so they wanted to get a chance to look at that and get the fuel right now. The 98 Grant Enfinger, right now that's a pretty decent truck for him. He's been happy most of the night.
And we'd still be outside their window, what typically would be their window, but you got to figure there's going to be more cautions, and all of a sudden now you're playing into the hand of maybe we can make it.
Jamie said so.
Yeah.
We know there's going to be more cautions, and that's exactly what these teams are doing, making sure they can get there when those cautions fall.
Oh, it's just beginning, even though we're in the final stage. New tracks, new teams, and a new champ. The 2021 NASCAR season really gets going officially in a couple of days with the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. That's Sunday, and you'll see it only on Fox.
What about Dad saying, son, I need you to give me a push? Not quite a push like that. Watch his hands inside that wheel. I mean, he's all over the steering wheel, hanging on to it, and yes. Todd Gilliland is on the gas.
Son said, hold my beer. Here I come.
That's right. There you can see the flap in that on that bed going up. The team put it down. We'll see what happens.
And that air flap keeps the trucks, if by chance they get up in the air, from hopefully not going over.
Right. Just
safety.
Evacuates the air from the bed so that the trucks stay on the ground.
And you know, Vince and Michael, when you get out there and you get in that draft 2 or 3 wide, the buffeting is incredible.
Back to green at Daytona with 36 to go. That's Brian Doza in the 28, and Tyler Ankrum squeezing past him as Doza goes to the bottom, and Ankrum maybe got a bump in the back end from the 38 of Gilliland, and he's going to keep it almost contact, but was able to keep it clean.
Ankrum got lucky right there.
Yeah, and Sheldon Creed got involved as well into the 33
he is still wrecking
of Jason White
from Canada.
And Creed suffering some damage. Could have been a lot worse.
Oh, damage for the 52. Stuart Friesen with some issues.
See if the 38 of Gilliland.
Oh, he gets hit. He hits.
Doesn't give a pop to the 26 of Ankrum here.
Yeah, he's trying to push him on through, and Ankrum's bobbing and weaving, and here comes Gilliland, I think right there.
Yep.
Yeah, Ankrum's truck was already light in the back. It didn't look like Todd hit him very hard there, but when you're in the middle, most vulnerable, and he's so lucky right there that he didn't get collected.
Yeah, because Sheldon wasn't driving through there.
No, Sheldon slowed down, and Jason, it looked like, got into him, and they couldn't stop.
Ankrum was wasting no time on this restart.
Well,
squeezing
you can't.
past Doza, absolutely.
John Hunter off. Did a nice job of preparing for what might happen.
And there was David Gilliland.
Yeah.
Narrowly escaping as well. A lot of close calls. There certainly was some contact, but it could have been a lot worse.
Teams get a little frustrated when a back marker, a truck that hadn't been up to pace, stays out and leads the race because of what could happen. And you saw what happened.
And that's what normally does happen when you get somebody that stays out that hasn't been up there most of the night.
So multiple trucks involved, but I don't know that any of them suffered damage that's going to cause them to be done for the night. Maybe certainly more significant damage to the 33 of White.
See, Jamie was right. There was another caution.
I love the way you said that.
Jamie was right again.
Had 13 trucks involved in some form of an accident so far this evening, but still no big one. How about radio from the 38?
Man, should have been more careful. I knew the nose was like that. Just so hard to push. I forgot about it. And you had to do what you had to do. I think he turned the wheel a little bit too, trying to get back down in front of the 28. So all good.
That's just good coaching, huh?
I love the spotter. He's like, you didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Let's not worry about that. Let's move on to the next restart.
35 laps. We need you focused on what's ahead, not what was behind.
And he said it's all good. I mean,
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
26 doesn't think so, but
probably a different story from
fine.
the 26 camp.
Yeah,
Coleman Presley, the spotter for Todd Gilliland.
Michael's 100% right. I think if we could have heard some radio from Tyler Ankrum coming into that restart, they were probably frustrated that the 28 truck had stayed out right there.
Several teams taking advantage coming to pit road under this caution. Coming back for the restart at Daytona. Taking a look at the Blue Emu race summary for our Camping World Truck Series season opener here at Daytona. 32 trucks still on the lead lap, 10 different leaders.
You know what I love, Jamie? I can't pick a winner. I mean, we've seen so many trucks have the power to lead this thing. Who's going to put themselves in the right position? And is it someone like, John Hunter Nemechek, who has fallen outside of the top 10? Can he rally and get back up there?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say. And the one thing about Daytona is you've had some surprise winners before, and we could very well see that again tonight. I've been shocked to see, John Hunter Nemechek win a stage and then kind of end up towards the back. David Gilliland, same thing. We've seen this kind of cycle through, and we've talked about it. The intensity level just keeps rising on all of these restarts because everybody's like, the mentality is if we can just get to the front, we'll just ride till we get to 5 to go or to 2 to go. But everybody has the same plan, and it just doesn't work out for all of them.
What about these trucks? 22nd position, Zane Smith. 26th position, Tyler Ankrum. 29th position, Sheldon Creed. 3 stout GMS trucks that find themselves way behind the 8 ball right now.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for those guys to advance by themselves without getting some assistance because they can get to the outside to that 3rd lane. But as we've seen all night long, that 3rd lane can only get to about 5 or 6 rows back, and then it stalls out. The bottom 2 lanes have been the preferred 2 all night long.
Austin Wayne Self, you saw a moment ago, has come to a stop on pit road, needs some assistance from the tow truck. That's why we're still under caution. Hey, across Speed Weeks and road course events, Daytona International Speedway and Fox are hosting thousands of military members and their families. NASCAR has a close partnership with VetTix, a nonprofit organization that specializes in verifying, selecting, and distributing tickets to military members and their families. I encourage you to go to vettix.org for more information. Terrific organization, and so glad that we can provide military members and their families an opportunity to enjoy some racing.
Yeah, nice night out at the races. Beautiful night here in Daytona. Nice to see the crowd in the grandstands, Vince.
How about that 18 truck, Chandler Smith, 18 years old. We've had a couple of teenagers winning the trucks here before. Kaz Gralla and Tyler Reddick, and they're both in the Daytona 500 on Sunday.
There you see the fans I was speaking of.
Good turnout.
Rise up on their feet, too, for these restarts to see the action.
Todd Gilliland will start alongside Chandler Smith on the front row, and then a couple of Thor Sport teammates, Enfinger in the 98, Rhodes in the 99.
Timothy Peters up in there. Haley Deegan's back in the 15th position.
2 Kyle Busch Motorsports machines in the top 5, and one of them is not John Hunter Nemechek. Green is back out. 31 left here at Daytona.
Still outside. 98's on you now, shoving. Off of you by a quarter. Off of you by half. Tighten up behind. 2 by 2, right on your door. 2 by 2 on you, shoving. On you, shoving. Nice steady wheel. Tandem with you. Nice steady wheel. He's off. Nice steady wheel here. 2 by 2.
That's Chris Lambert, the spotter of the 18 truck.
Nice steady wheel. That means no abrupt action.
You see Haley Deegan got stuck in the middle right there.
Dangerous position. David Gilliland right behind her.
Good teammate. Give her a little push.
Yeah, they get around Jordan Anderson.
You see those GMS trucks are all lined up in that outside groove on the very top, and they've been making pretty good progress right here. I just think they're going to get 4 or 5 lanes from the front guys, and it's going to stall out.
That's Ankrum and Creed. Zane Smith up top in that 3rd lane.
Getting another taker. A couple of trucks looking to go on the outside.
That looked like the Nice trucks had pulled up in front of him.
It's Brett Moffitt in the 45. And now Johnny Sauter goes to the top lane.
Big run by Johnny Sauter. Moves up in front of those guys. Trying to get that outside lane formed up. Big bump draft right there.
Roper in the 04 with a big
huge
push.
Shot.
Moffitt right behind him.
3 wide.
Oh, and Moffitt's looking to make it 4. Oh, that is not good. There's 4 wide. I knew it would happen.
Truck's not stable, and that's going to send Gilliland around, and big wreck.
That is
big damage to Gilliland and Stuart Friesen.
I mean, that's just 4 wide, Jamie.
Tate Fogelman in the 12 took big damage there as well. Oh, what a tough finish for Todd Gilliland.
Vince, I've been 4 wide at Daytona before, but it was an accident. You know,
that was an accident.
Yeah, so was that.
That resulted in an accident, but they were pushing to be 4 wide on purpose.
And on that 12 truck of Fogelman, the decal of Mark Huff, and so many of us in the racing community, heavy hearts this week after Huff's passing last week. The GM at CR7, Cody Robaugh's team, and so well known and liked in the garage. And
you see, Todd Gilliland was kind of indecisive there. He didn't go to the second lane, and he didn't go up and block that outside lane, and that's what put them 4 wide. You know, you get in that position and you're waiting on your spotter to clear you one way or the other, and if the spotter's not 100% sure, you get stuck there, and that's what resulted in getting 4 wide, and there's just not enough room. I mean, you said it, Michael. Talladega, we can run 4 wide, and it's hairy, but you can do it. It's just really hard to do here at Daytona.
And it looked like Matt Crafton lost the nose of his truck. It looked like he pushed up.
Well, he's missing a fender.
Yeah, so watch right here. Gilliland's okay. Maybe. Oh, and
it looked like he had a little help from behind, actually, that shot him up.
That'll make you lose the front end of your truck.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Only 3 vehicles took significant damage. I think Lassard and Ankrum maybe banged doors, but no real damage for either one of them.
I saw Moffitt bounce off the outside wall too, so it'd be interesting to see how much damage he has.
But if you think about it, Todd Gilliland was leading at the start-finish line here, and to only get 3 trucks involved in that when he was one of them, that's pretty incredible.
Stuart Friesen pinned up against the wall, so
he's
having
frustrated.
To squeeze outside the window. And now good to see Todd Gilliland climbing from the 38. Yep.
We feel you.
It's Daytona. It can turn on you that quickly.
His expression said it all.
Yeah, Friesen putting the fist in the roof of his truck, the expression of the crew member.
The 38 of Gilliland getting a little help from the 88 of Crafton. Collecting a couple others in the process. Back at Daytona, good look from above the Goodyear blimp and a good shot of the road course. They'll be on next Friday night for the Truck Series, the Camping World Trucks. And, well, they're maybe getting a little practice under caution here with the
we've added a new
left
chicane.
and then right, and back left.
We about got everything cleaned up, but very adventurous race so far for most of these competitors.
And here's why we're under yellow. Keep an eye on that neon 88.
And watch, because some contact, I believe, from maybe John Hunter. Does that knock him up?
Yeah, you see John Hunter's like trying to turn down underneath Matt Crafton, and Crafton had checked up a little bit so he didn't get into Todd Gilliland, and they all collided.
That was Zane Smith. And Rafael Lassard actually went door to door.
Not
saw too heavy a damage there.
Saw Moffitt bounce off the wall in this wreck, but I haven't seen him come to pit road yet. See right there, Moffitt.
Yep.
Maybe just minor damage.
Yeah, it didn't look like he hit that hard.
Right.
I didn't see any tire marks after he hit the wall.
Heartbreaker for Todd Gilliland in that 38, and Stuart Friesen as well. Of course, Tate Fogelman in the 12.
Look at the destruction. This is what happens when things go wrong at 180 miles an hour.
Michael, I don't know about you, but I always shut my eyes right here. Like, I didn't ever want to see all those sparks and everything that was happening.
Thank goodness our camera guys aren't shutting their eyes when all that's going on and missing these great shots.
They're
terrific work, guys.
They're awesome. The pictures and the sounds Fox Sports brings the NASCAR fans. This is incredible.
Just about got it all cleaned up to go back green when we return.
The Bassmaster Elite Series kicks off the new season right here, live at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday. The pros taking on the legendary St. Johns River, which has produced some of the biggest fish in Bassmaster history. Bassmaster Live on FS1.
Look forward to that. Bassmasters Elite tomorrow morning and Sunday morning as well. Get down to the nitty-gritty here at Daytona. Less than 25 to go, and gives us a chance while we're under caution to remind you that each year NASCAR begins its season during Black History Month. And we recognize the accomplishments of Black Americans in the sport, including icons like Elias Bowie, who is credited as being the first black driver to start a top-level NASCAR race. And, of course, NASCAR Hall of Famer Wendell Scott, the first black driver to win a NASCAR Cup Series event. Special time in our sports history. And a special point in this race with less than 25 to go. Down to the Advent Health Center with Jamie Howe.
Stuart Friesen has now been cleared from the medical center. Obvious disappointment on your face. You talked about having to keep your nose clean in order to finish this race. How difficult was that?
It was extremely difficult, extremely frustrating. You know, it seemed like the tires were wearing out and we were losing grip. At least our truck wasn't really in the track, and we just didn't execute a smart strategy to try to survive the race. We got ourselves in a bad spot, and I piled in the back of a couple guys, and then ultimately got taken out while we were in the bee's nest there. It's unfortunate for Helmar, all our partners that have got us here. You know, we just got to do a better job next time.
Glad you're okay.
Thank you.
That pretty much describes Daytona. You know, when we talk about falling back, where to run in the pack, how to survive, and Stuart found himself in the middle of a mess and not happy about it.
Well, it's fourth DNF in 5 races here. It's just not been kind to Stuart Friesen. Saw that speedy dry as they rolled down the backstretch.
Vince, what about 3 of our top 4 here at Daytona? It's the kid, Chandler Smith, and then the next 3 have all won here at Daytona.
Yep. Grant Enfinger, Timothy Peters, Austin Hill.
They've got to the front here with just over 20 laps to go, and maybe that tells you their experience, their knowledge, why they do have those victories here. We'll see if it plays out.
And then back to that 3rd row, Drew Dollar in the 51, making his first ever start here in the Camping World Truck Series, and his first start in the series, not just his first start at Daytona. And of course the 23, Chase Purdy, there in row 3 as well. First full-time season.
Bama buggies. That's fun to say.
There will be 22 to go when they come around and take the green. At what point do you really start being aggressive?
10 laps ago, it appears.
I was going to say about 25 laps ago.
When we say,
not for everybody, right?
When we say 4 wide, it's happened.
Chandler Smith lead them to green.
I just can't believe they went 4 wide with this much racing to go, but I'll see things I won't believe continue to happen here tonight.
With a 16 is really locked. He's gonna have to be careful. If he stays locked on too long, he's gonna get in trouble.
Look at that speedy dry, just a big cloud as they go through it.
Yeah, and that stuff's gonna stick to their tear-offs. It's gonna make it a little more difficult for them to see. It seems like the static or whatever, that stuff just clings. If you look at all the windshields right now, really hard to see out of.
For the lead with Enfinger and Chandler Smith side by side.
Timothy Peters, Drew Dollar pushing Chandler Smith. They're going 3 wide. Here comes Lessard on the outside with Sheldon Creed. He's been through a lot tonight.
Yeah, and you know, we've talked about teammates and kind of joked around about ThorSport, but I'll tell you, GMS has done a really good job. It seems like when one of those trucks pull out, their teammates go with them, and they're doing a really good job of trying to work together. And they're not in a good position now because they're in that outside lane trying to make it 3 wide. But if they can get enough people to go up there with them, they might be able to get up to the front. You see Matt Crafton now is pulled up. He likes what he sees in his mirror.
Oh, and look, big block there by Enfinger, but it was a little bit late. Austin Hill around the outside.
Camping World 20 to go. 3 wide at Daytona.
That is awesome. Look at that speedy drive. Matt Crafton with a big push down the back.
Hailie Deegan. Contact. It had been a very solid night for Hailie. She had run inside the top 10 much of the first 2 stages.
She can start that gate going, yeah. She's like, get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Get out of my way.
To get a look at how much damage she's got to the front end of that truck and whether she got some help that may have damaged the back end at all. But she's handled herself well tonight in her second start in the Camping World Truck Series, but her first here at Daytona.
Yeah, she got a little more damage than I thought she was going to have there, Michael. It didn't, you know, ride on in with her. It didn't look like she hit that hard, but it's a little more damage.
Pretty significant there on the front end.
You might be able to jack the front end up, drop it on a block and bend that up maybe.
See if we can tell how it started. Oh, way in the back.
Yeah, really hard to see what happened there.
How difficult is it to see when you go through that speedy drive? I mean, from
I think
our
it's
perspective,
worse.
it looks like it's really difficult.
I think it's worse from the perspective we see here on TV, but definitely it's hard to see through that. But you got to remember, it's only 2 or 3 seconds, and you're essentially going straight. If nothing happens in front of you, see her has a pretty big impact she had on that inside wall.
She had an onboard camera. We get a look at how difficult it is to see. Here you go.
Oh,
I think that wasn't an issue at all.
I don't know if someone got into the back of her.
I think the trucks around her, maybe Jordan Anderson saw all the speedy drive, and maybe backed out of the throttle, and she drifted up and tried to turn a left, take a left away from them.
Sorry, guys. Al just locked it up in front of me. 4.
Jeff Hensley, the crew chief for Hailie Deegan, certainly a veteran crew chief, championship crew chief. You mentioned TJ Majors, her spotter. She's got a good group with her at David Gilliland Racing. Tyler Ankrum in for a stop and service as well.
There you see trouble with that right front.
Man, it's incredible how long they have to wait on that.
I was talking to one of the pit crew coaches at Joe Gibbs Racing, said the trucks are just so difficult with the setups you mentioned, Jamie, that they run that holds that tire up in the fender. That's pretty solid stuff he's beating on.
I think they're probably going to have to cut that away. I don't know if he's going to be able to hit that hard enough with his...
Would they be able to jack it up and drop it on a block and bend that front up or not?
Looks like it's pushed back as much as it is down. Give him an A for effort.
AMR safety team taking care of business. Certainly thankful for their professionalism. Getting closer to the end here at Daytona. Back at Daytona, aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Drive always, discover possibility. Goodyear, more driven. Hey, millions of kids nationwide are without their normal access to sports and play due to COVID-19, and that's why Fox Sports and Good Sports are restoring play through donations of brand new gear, including speed-themed fitness equipment for the boys and girls clubs of Volusia and Flagler counties. Let's go downstairs to Jamie.
Todd Gilliland now released from the Infield Care Center. You said, feel like everybody just sort of ran out of racing room. What did it seem like from your seat?
Yeah, I think exactly that. I tried to block the top, and that wasn't fast enough. And then I tried to get back to the middle. I missed that too, and then I was just middle 4 wide. And then I think everyone just ran out of room. I honestly have no idea. Someone got squirrely. It easily could have been me. So that's part of this racing. It was getting intense there. I was pushing hard. I was getting pushed hard. So I don't know. That's part of this racing. I hate it happened to us, but it felt really good to have my Speedco Ford up front, and I'm really proud of everyone at Front Row Motorsports. It's 2 years in a row we've been kind of up at the front at near the right time. Definitely not close enough to the end, but like I said, just can't thank Speedco, Ford. Bob Jenkins is here, my truck owner, so can't wait to get to the next one.
Intense is a good word to describe it. Thank you.
Well, tough break for Todd Gilliland, certainly. The 21 truck is Zane Smith. We need to update him right quick. That truck has been a handful all night long. Very, very loose. They're finally starting to get a grip on it, but at one point, Michael, Jamie, 8 rounds down on the track bar. You do not hear that very often for a race truck.
I love their aggression on the setup. You got to get it fixed.
Yeah, you're trying to make it qualify well, and it's hard sometimes to hit the balance right. Qualifying trim to race trim. That's a huge adjustment.
Kevin Bono Mannion, the crew chief on that 21 for Zane Smith. Pace truck is off. Coming to get the green. There will be 15 to go when they cross the line. Chandler Smith and Timothy Peters leading the way.
That outside lane's way more organized right now.
Ben Rhodes giving Peters, that big shove out to the front.
We talked about Ben Rhodes' aggression, and that's what Timothy Peters wants right now. He wants him to be aggressive on that back bumper. Try to keep that lead.
Johnny Sauter in the 13. His teammate Matt Crafton there in that bright yellow 88. Grant Enfinger, another Thor Sport truck just ahead. On board now with Austin Hill.
Listen to him working the throttle. Big run on the outside.
Private room, no third lane. 88 and the 20.
Thor Sport trucks lined up on the outside. How about Jamie on Ben Rhodes in that 99?
Ben was pretty unhappy coming into the race. He started 23rd, but he said he was going to have to be smart. They were going to have the chance to take a breath. They were going to have to make the moves constantly. You've seen how it's played out for him under that last caution. They said, you're driving the wheels off the thing. Don't stop now.
Well, he's got a couple of teammates behind him. Enfinger in the 98, Crafton in the 88. Timothy Peters, first one on the inside in that 25. Chandler Smith, the 18-year-old, second in line on the inside.
And if you are Ben Rhodes on that front row, you've got 2 teammates behind you. We heard that they had a meeting. You're hoping that those guys are going to stay committed to you more than if you move down and try to get in front of Timothy Peters on the inside.
Look at that mess, Jamie, how tight you are.
There's Moffitt going around.
Moffitt was running 24th. I don't know how that could have happened. It's been a tough race for him.
Still green, and you see Enfinger squeezed in the middle between Rhodes and Crafton. Had a handful, had to gather it up.
They're not going to be green long, Vince. These pushes are just too big for guys to hold on to trucks for 13 laps.
Moffitt rolling again. .12 laps remaining. at Daytona in the season opener, the Camping World Trucks. Timothy Peters and Ben Rhodes in the front.
See how on edge all of those trucks are. Every time they get a little bit of a tap, you see the truck that's getting pushed get just a little bit loose.
This is Moffitt's. You saw the 45 truck on the bottom. It's his 5th race here. Been involved in a wreck all 5 of them. And he's a champion.
Yep. Make you pull your hair out.
Daytona.
That's what makes winning so special, I guess, how hard it is. We're going to break, but you won't miss a thing. Keep it right here. Going to keep on trucking from Daytona with 11 to go. Less than 10 to go at Daytona with Grant Enfinger and Chandler Smith battling at the front. Enfinger trying to win back-to-back at Daytona.
Well, and you saw Michael Grant Enfinger really side drafting hard on Chandler Smith, and that's when it gets really hairy for all these guys. The handling's going away, tires are hot, and all that side drafting.
Grant Enfinger in that 98 was in the championship 4 a year ago. And the team split up.
Oh, 18 is loose.
How did Chandler Smith gather that up? Wow.
That's going to bunch the pack up because he's losing his momentum after that huge save.
I was going to say, despite going to the Final 4 for Enfinger, as you watch this great save from Chandler Smith, Enfinger has to split his ride.
Oh, that's so good.
This season with Christian Eckes, and what a nice little feather in the cap it would be for Enfinger to win the season opener again under those circumstances.
At this point, I'm just kind of wanting to finish the season opener, get to that last lap, have a chance to race for the victory. Can we make it there? Uh-oh, something's happening to the 98.
It looks like the 98. Is he blowing up?
It looks like the engine's still running fine. Maybe he's just got a little oil leak.
I don't like that up front.
Boy, Matt Crafton, his teammate.
It didn't slow him.
Gotta see it.
Didn't slow him down at all.
What a great push by Crafton that was.
Wow.
It's only doing it in the corners. It looks like it gets way worse in the corner.
You think maybe he got
now
bumped?
Crafton is slowed and has dropped back several spots.
Timothy Peters hops up behind Ben Rhodes and gives a nice push. Now the 18 smoking too.
Wow, Enfinger hanging on to this one despite some smoke. And now Chandler Smith has gone around. He was up fighting for the lead. Gathers it up without hitting anything, but
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have a caution.
Green is still
they're
out.
going to stay green here.
Still racing. And now they're crashing. Timothy Peters involved. Tyler Ankrum has taken a big hit. Wow. John Hunter Nemechek. Several contenders. Heck, Timothy Peters and Chandler Smith had just been fighting for the lead. Johnny Sauter has taken some damage as well. A big hit from Tyler Ankrum, and there's Timothy Peters. The damage done to that 25 Rackley Chevrolet.
There you see Tyler Ankrum getting himself ready to get out of the truck. Austin Hill, winner here.
Yeah. You've got to get to the end, and that's the toughest part. Getting to the end, the toughest part, right?
Might be the best spin Chandler Smith has ever taken. He spun himself out of that pack, down on the bottom of the apron.
He's going to get tires and be in a pretty good position.
He's going to come get him some tires and be a part of this battle.
Carson Hocevar.
How many trucks were involved in that one? Must have been about all of them.
Glad to see Ankrum giving the nod that he's okay and walking away.
Very talented young racer.
Get into the ambulance for the trip to the Advent Healthcare Center.
It's going to be busy over there.
Saw Lassard and the damage he took on. And there's Chandler Smith.
With an opportune spin at Daytona. You don't say that very often.
So watch up front. Contact right there.
That was another case, Jamie, of catching that apron, and it just bounced the 18 up the hill, and that's where that smoke came from.
Yeah, and so the thing is, when the truck travels, when it gets to the corner, that's why it's filling the cockpit up with smoke.
Oh, Timothy Peters trying to get in a hole that's not there.
Yeah, Drew Dollar in the 51 didn't have anywhere to go.
No, that was not Drew Dollar's fault. To see if he survives this little conflict, and then Peters right back up into traffic. How much damage does Johnny Sauter get?
Clip Sauter there in the left rear.
Carson Hocevar.
Well, a lot of innocent victims.
You know, we hear it all the time. When you want to make a move, you just have to be so aggressive, because if you ease down like you see Timothy Peters there, that gap gets filled up, and it's, you know, it's 4 laps to go right now. No one's going to give you any room or let off at this point.
That's just trying to close a hole that was already occupied.
Yeah.
Several of those drivers just had absolutely nowhere to go.
John Hunter looks like not major damage.
Now, his didn't look too bad, at least on the right side that I saw.
It's right on board with the 16 of Austin Hill, and
Tyler Ankrum's
get
farming.
a look at it. Well, that's all torn up. Here's that Austin Hill on board. Look at the hands.
Gosh, it gets violent in a hurry, doesn't it, Jamie?
Yeah,
you hear that?
I saw a different replay from Austin, and he barely got clipped in the right rear, and it shot him up in front of everybody.
There's nothing the 51 truck could do.
No, absolutely not.
And he does a nice job after the contact. Watch him, he keeps that truck pointed in the right direction.
See Austin Hill get turned into the wall right there.
Look at the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed and Matt Kraft, and they've been involved in about everything tonight, but just keep on making their way through the messes.
Ankrum's just along for the ride there, isn't he?
Oh, no doubt. He's no brakes. The left front's all locked up.
The landscaping crew going to have a little extra work to do. Look at that.
Here comes John Hunter sliding in.
He's gonna have to come in and get a tire on that.
He's on pit road, Regan.
Well, there was a lot of debate when this caution first came out if they were going to pit with the 98 of Grant Enfinger or not. Ultimately, they didn't have a choice. You see the flat tire right there. Grant said he didn't think it was going to hold up. He could smell it inside of the truck as he was out there on the racetrack. Tough break for him, but still some more laps to go.
Well, that's, I mean, tough break, but he's lucky because if that goes flat at speed, we've seen that a couple of times tonight. You just can't hang on to it when you lose the left rear.
And from what we've seen, Vince, the way they're pushing and shoving, we could be also talking about a little bit of NASCAR overtime. Would you, Jamie, let me go to you, the expert on the numbers and the odds. What do you think the chances?
I think the odds are probably pretty good, Michael. What do you think?
Probably so.
Yeah.
Still got a little work to do on that 98. We thought initially maybe he was blowing up. Good news for him. That was not the case. Had the rub and then eventually the flat tire as you look at those involved in that accident. And there's the 4 truck of John Hunter Nemechek with some big hitters. Some guys that had some high hopes and have been running up front tonight in that list.
Yeah, Drew Dollar came out the best on that deal right at the start of it, but he's currently 7th. Oh, there it is.
NASCAR overtime, and you see it. It's a 2-lap shootout, but it can be a lot longer than 2 laps. You're going to take the green, and if you make it all the way back around and get the white, well, the next flag, whether it's the checkers or the caution, will end the race. But if the caution comes out before they take the white flag, we'll re-rack them and do it again. NASCAR overtime. And Ben Rhodes is in the front, Jamie.
And the conversation with the spotter, TJ Bell, right now getting pretty interesting. When they go back to green, Ben Rhodes would like to take the high side, but they're saying, no, you've got to go to the bottom. You've got to get that push from your teammate. They're talking about Matt Crafton, who, despite all the issues he's had, is still in this. So they're thinking about this green-white checker scenario and how to get the best push.
Matt Crafton, we talked about the fact that he's a 3-time champion, and he had victory in sight here just a few years ago and had it taken away on the last lap, and finds himself, he's raced into a position after a mistake on pit road, being a lap down, persevering, and now finds himself in a position to try to win this race.
And he's right next to the champion in that 2 truck, Sheldon Creed.
He's been in a few messes himself tonight, hasn't he, Vince?
Skirmisher too. And David Gilliland back up there in the front. He had been up in the front much of the night and then had to come back through the field after a series of pit stops, and right there he is.
You know, we've talked about side drafting a lot tonight, Michael, but at this point, when we get to turns 1 and 2, David Gilliland is going to be all over the side of Ben Rhodes' truck.
And you know, he was involved in an accident or a skirmish, and he put on fresh tires. I don't know how much difference that'll make, but it can't hurt, especially when you talk about the side drafting and the pushing, Jamie.
Be a little more aggressive.
He has the tires to go do the job. Will he get the push to complete the job with?
Well, Sheldon has a super fast truck, and he's been able to push really well all night long. So I kind of like the position David Gilliland's in. I would rather be on the bottom because I feel like it's a little bit of a safer place to be for Ben Rhodes, especially having a teammate behind you. But the 2 trucks fast, and you're going to see them lock bumpers right here, and it's going to be about the side draft and just who gets that best run at the right time.
And how about the 04 and the 02? Corey Roper and Chris Wright. Chris making his first Daytona start. The 9 of Cody Robaugh is right there. And
Jordan Anderson in the top 10. Austin Wayne Self with a damaged truck up there.
Jordan Anderson 2nd last year. Cody Robaugh, we saw there in that 9 truck, was 3rd. Both career best finishes for those drivers.
All we need is an action-packed 2 laps.
Overtime in the series opener at Daytona. Ben Rhodes and David Gilliland.
Nice push by Crafton. I like the way Crafton just maybe had just a bit of spacing.
A little more gentle when he hit. Sheldon hit David so hard that he pushed him out, but he's locked onto him right now. Ben Rhodes has got out front. He's probably going to try to block both lanes if he needs to.
This is not great for Ben Rhodes, other than the fact he's got Matt Crafton, his teammate, behind him.
Creed jumps to the outside. Gilliland getting hung out in the middle. Corey Roper giving a shove.
Big push from that 404 truck.
Here comes Chris Wright in the 0-2. Look at the big push he gives to Sheldon Creed.
Rhodes jumps up front to block Creed, and now back to the bottom.
Yeah, great move there by Ben Rhodes to move up and kind of stall out the two. But I'm telling you, the 04 truck is pushing Sheldon Creed. Look at that.
White flag.
Huge
One to go. Creed up top, and there was some contact in the wall by Roper, and now Roper goes to the bottom.
Good move.
Corey Roper to the front. Crafton giving his teammate Ben Rhodes a little shove. Can they get past the 0-4 of Corey Roper? Contact in the 22 of Austin Wayne. Self going around. We stay green on the final lap at Daytona.
Ben Rhodes is backed up. He's going to get a little bit of a run right here on him. Here comes
Corey
his
Roper,
teammate.
the Texan, trying to hold on. 43 years old.
Oh,
big crash, and Ben Rhodes going around the outside and across the line.
Jordan Anderson with the huge run.
But it's Ben Rhodes, the winner. Wow.
That's crazy what happens on the last lap here.
Yes, Vince. Wow. We talked about how aggressive that young man was in the draft, how hard he pushed, put himself in the right position.
Corey Roper did a heck of a job, though, Michael. You look at the push he gave Sheldon Creed, and then to get to the lead on the last lap, Ben Rhodes just had that huge run off turn 4.
Richard Lucius, the crew chief of Ben Rhodes, with his first win as a crew chief in his first race. He had been the truck chief for Johnny Sauter and takes over the crew chief role and gets the win.
You just can't describe what it's like to win at Daytona. And I think his emotion gives you an idea of what it feels like.
Yeah, and I love getting to see the team and how excited they are. And when you're the driver and you're out there, you know this, Michael, you can't wait to get in so you can celebrate with all of them, because that's your team, and they're kind of having this moment. You want to do your burnout, get the flag, and then you want to get over there and you want to high-five everybody and talk about it.
Good to see drivers moving around and climbing from their trucks. We've seen all the drivers either get out of their truck or put the window net down and move around. Ben Rhodes starting off the season with a win at Daytona. How about it for the 23-year-old from Louisville, Kentucky? Won last year at Darlington, one of the storied racetracks, and then getting it done tonight at Daytona.
In dramatic fashion, Jamie, we talked at the open of the show, we don't know who's going to win this race till they come off turn 4, and that certainly was the case.
Bombardier coming on board as a sponsor. That was announced just earlier today. I'd say that was pretty good timing.
Smart move there. There's a bunch of trucks, Jamie, that are sitting in smoking heaps. The winner being one of them, but his was on purpose, doing those burnouts. There's the other end of the carnage of the last lap, loading into the ambulance to go to the hospital. Look like everybody's okay, though. Everybody's out of their trucks and under their own power.
Let's hear from the winner.
Ben Rhodes. One of the most exciting last laps we have seen in a long time. Talk me through the final lap of that race and how you ended up here with the checkered flag.
I don't even know, man. I got to give such a big thank you to my team. This is so special. Biggest win of my career. I can't even believe this. You know, as a driver, you're always asked about what your biggest accomplishment is. This is it. This is hands down it. This is the place to be. I can't even believe it. We got Bombardier on the truck. We came back to Toyota and we won, and our first race was in the Thor Sport. I can't thank Duke and Rhonda Thorson enough for this opportunity. This is special.
This is Daytona. You do realize it is Daytona.
Yeah, I do. And I'm going to soak it up for as long as I can. That last Darlington win went by too fast, and You just don't know when you're going to get it again. But I'm going to enjoy this night, best night of my life right here.
The last lap coming down to get to the start-finish line here. Talk me through the move that you were making and what happened and what you were thinking.
That actually started out the end of the second stage. I got set up for the same move, and I said I'm going to log that in my memory bank. I came up short on that checker flag, but I was going to make sure that I didn't come up short on this one. So we just tried to time it right. Thank goodness I had my Menards teammate, Matt Crafton, behind me because he's a stud. He's a stud. He's been around for a long time. He knows what he's doing, and you see the help he gave me there. He blocks it. This wouldn't have been possible without Matt Crafton, and I owe him a huge thank you.
We saw you back up to get to Crafton just a little bit there. Was that calculated on your part?
That was one of the race-winning move, I think. Jordan Anderson, too. Hats off to him, man. 2 races in a row at this place. He's been in contention to win, so congrats to him on a second place.
All right, congratulations. Ben Rhodes, winner at Daytona.
You know, we said at the beginning of the night that for one driver, this was going to be a trip to victory lane he'd never forget. And tonight that honor, tonight that honor belongs to Ben Rhodes. The golden hour is next. More to come from Daytona. Stay with us.